Junk food supper.
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 Junk food
Junk
supper.
food supper.
Junk food supper.
Junk food supper.
All right, welcome to Junk Food
Junk
Supper,
Food Supper.
episode number 114. This is the internet's number one Olivia Newton John podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Byron, joined as always by my co-host, Perky Beantown Bowman, up there in the 559. What's going on, Bowman?
Well, first and foremost, I feel like an asshole for not getting the clip from Freaked where they say Olivia Newton John.
Yeah, I think you fucked up big time.
Yeah, I kind of fucked
And
up.
you are number one dropsman on the podcast. I'm kind of disappointed.
I know. I could have finally found a reason to replace the drop of that guy getting sleepy that I've had for 3 years.
You must have at least one Olivia Newton John themed drop, right?
No.
I thought you had this one.
Baba Boom.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
I guess we'll talk about that later. Maybe I'm learning something about Bowman up here at the top of the show.
it's very subjective, those Vava Boom drops. I don't know about Olivia Newton John. But
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, other than that, other than this cryptic foreshadowing of your thoughts on the lead actress of Toomorrow, the film that we'll be reviewing later in the show, what's been going on with the Bowman?
well, I saw a movie.
Yeah.
I know you might not believe that, considering we watch movies all the time, but I did.
This is
I
a
went to-
motion picture.
A motion picture.
Okay.
It's called The Drama.
Oh, yeah.
We talked a little bit about it in the movie preview, starring Robert Pattinson and Zendaya.
Can you do me a flavor and don't tell me anything about this movie? I think I will see this movie this week.
Yeah, not knowing anything about it is the best way to do it. Like the trailer, for some reason, in a world where every trailer gives away every single story beat, the trailer gives away almost nothing. Or it doesn't, like, there's like one big thing in this movie, and the trailer does not give that away. Or at least the trailer I saw. So yeah, it's best to not know much, but I liked it a great deal.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know is whether or not you liked it.
I did.
Oh.
I will say I'm a little like Robert Pattinson and Zendaya are like probably the two most famous people on earth right now. And like, I guess Taylor Swift or somebody like this, but like, you know, these two people are up there. And some of the subject matter in this movie I'm shocked that Hollywood let them do this movie to some degree. It gets pretty wild. It's fucking absurd. It's a little bit absurd.
Okay. Wow. It sounds shocking to me.
Yeah, it is. Let me know how you feel about it. So it's a wild time at the cinema, though.
I like a wild time. I like those two actors. The very minimal things I've heard about it have all been very intriguing to me. So I got to get out of my damn house and see some movies sometime. I still haven't seen what the hell, the Ryan Gosling in space movie.
Oh yeah, I've been wanting to see that too.
Yeah, there's all these movies they're playing. I'm not seeing any of them.
Yeah. I want to see They Will Kill You as well.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff out there right now.
Yeah. Well, I figure I got to find some way to raise some funds over here so that I can even afford movie tickets going forward. Because, God damn it, if I didn't lose my shirt on Kalshi this week, I bet everything on the nukes to fall. And it didn't happen, Bowman.
Yeah, it seemed pretty certain. I mean, I guess it's good that we avoided nuclear war. But I'm
I
sad
guess
that you...
good in the abstract, but, you know, that could have been concrete dollars in my portfolio.
Yeah. So you're using this Kalshi, or are you being silly?
No,
or are you actually
I
using
would
this?
never endorse something that seems so blatantly evil.
Yeah, I kind of thought like there was a South Park episode about it, which is how I heard of it. And like that kind of made it seem silly. Like it was like people betting on like, I don't know, pretty benign things, you know, like, but then I think the algorithm found out that I was interested in it and it started giving me all these ads for Kalshi, and all the ads are like AI generated slop, like with fake people, you know, like, and I was like, well, I can't support this. like at all. Like, and then yeah, I found out like since then more, about them being like actually evil. So I definitely can't. But the AI slop generated ads just completely turned me off.
That will do it. That or people actually using it to bet on invasions of countries, which has been happening, I think, since at least the Venezuela invasion, but maybe even longer.
Yeah, that too. Like that's also pretty evil. Like I think when I got it, it was like, like benign things like, will Jimmy Kimmel say the F-bomb tonight? Like stuff like that. And like that seemed like kind of like a fun way to pass the time, bet $1 on something like that. Like, will South Park make fun of Trump tonight? Like stuff like that. But betting on genocide just doesn't seem super fun, I guess.
Even the benign stuff seems so inherently fixable, like, able to be fixed as in, cheated, in terms of like Kimmel himself places $1 billion bet on him saying fuck, and then he does.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and I guess that is a risk with even sports betting, but it seemed like these crazy prop bets that people are getting into now are like just, you're asking to be duped.
Yeah, there's a comic book controversy going around right now that's sort of similar to that. Like, there's this new comic called Dork, like D''ORK, that like copies of this thing are like going for like tons and tons of money. And the theory is that like it's been propped up, like all these like YouTubers and stuff are like, oh man, this comic's great. Everybody's got to go out there and buy it. And there's like I don't know how much of a conspiracy it is or how much it's based on real stuff, but like the theory is that some of these like YouTube influencer type people are like buying up entire runs of the comic and then telling everybody to go buy it. And then they can't because they've all been bought up. And like, so the price rises like in this, sort of fake way. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it.
yeah, like it seems like a weird situation, but yeah, it seems like fixing prices and screwing people over is just like what the economy's. I mean, I guess it's what the economy's always been based on, but it's going to be based on that, even down to comic books and betting on Jimmy Kimmel saying the F-bomb and stuff like that now.
Man, I'm starting to feel like things are not trending in the right direction in this timeline, Bowman.
I know. I miss the days when comics were worth a lot simply because no one believed Sam Keith would finish the Max. And so they only printed 100 copies of issue number 35. Like, the good old days.
Yeah, the good old days where comics were valuable because a creator's blood was, infused into the ink of the comic before it was printed because the poor guy died, right before it came out or whatever.
Yeah.
Can't we just get back to that?
That would be ideal.
Well, maybe I can right the ship in this timeline because I've got a little proclamation to make, Bowman.
Oh, I'm just here for the new rules.
Oh, you're just here for the new rules?
I just came on the show for the new rules.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'm here to deliver my Oscar Proclamation, or as I call it, a Prosclarmation. I think that's what I call it.
Yes.
This is the output of a very intense process where I analyzed the show Junk Food Supper and tried to determine what could be done better on this show. What mistakes have we made along the way that I can try and improve? And I had a lot of ideas, as the winner of our Oscar bet, I think my power was nearly unlimited in what kind of proclamation I wanted to assess. And so, I was considering things like maybe let's do no movies made after the adoption of color film. It's a new black and white era of Junk Food Supper. I was thinking of like going forward, all picks must be movie musicals, all kinds of ideas that I had. But I didn't want to go too hog wild. And I thought really what this show needs is a little bit of balance. And so I've got a proposal here, and I'm open to you shooting this down. I think the proclamations do probably need buy-in from both of us, but I think you'll like this.
Okay.
I'm calling it the 20-year gap. And basically the idea is in order to promote some diversity in the time periods of movies that we're picking for the show, so that you don't always pick movies from the late 1990s and I don't always pick movies from the late 1970s, we implement this gap, meaning whichever movie we picked last serves as the marker for your next pick, and you need to pick movies that are either 20 years later or 20 years before that time period. So, like, for instance, I picked Toomorrow this week. It came out in 1970. So next week, when I'm proposing picks for Junk Food Supper, those picks need to either be before either 1950 or earlier, or 1990 or later. And we can do the thing that we always do at the end of the show where we float ideas. I might say, hey, I've got a pick from 1945 and a pick from 1995 or what have you. Or I might even say, I've got these two specific movies that happen to be in that time range. But just basically some guidance on forcing us to go in different directions, decades-wise.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I do pick newer movies. I'm looking at the list now. But, okay, well, I like the idea. One thing that worries me about it is that we'll get stuck. Like, what if we accidentally get tricked into going back? Like, well, not tricked, but like after a few weeks, like if we go backwards, like a couple of weeks, now I'm stuck all the way in like the 1910s.
Yeah, but then give me some options for movies that I might pick that are newer, and that's going to get us way back up into the current century,
Okay.
Because you don't then have to say, I've got a movie from 2010 or I've got a movie from 1890 or whatever. You can tell me, hey, I've got this, awesome, blaxploitation movie from last year that you haven't seen that you would really love, and here's why you should pick it. And then suddenly we'll be doing that movie.
Okay. So the 20 years is from whatever we picked, like the previous time.
Yeah, so you picked the max last time. That's 1995. So if we were going to adopt it this week, I would ask that the picks that you submit at the end of the show, and by the way, you could just pick just outright. You could say, all right, we're picking a movie from 1974 and here's what it is. Because, we've always done that. I did that this week with Toomorrow.
Yeah.
Or you could present options that are, 20 years before or later. So 75 or earlier, or 2015 or later.
Okay. So then, all right. So say that at the end of this show, I give you the choice of a movie that came 20 years before 1995 or 20 years after. And then you pick the after, which would be a 2015 movie.
Yeah.
So then the next time
is based on my last pick. So like next week, it'll be based on Toomorrow, which is 1970. So your movie didn't really even come into play in that case.
Okay. But like in theory, though, if we found ourselves doing a 2020 movie, then obviously we can't go 20 years into the future from there.
True, yeah. So in those cases, you are forced to go at least 20 years into the past.
Okay. I do like to go back into the past.
Yeah,
oftentimes
you have
it's
to
to
go
play
back.
Yeah, it's to play the shitty games that suck ass. That's usually what I do it for. Jackson's gonna like that reference. Nobody else. But
I don't even know that it's a reference.
It's for the best. Okay. I like the idea.
It's just for
I feel
a
scared
year.
that we'll get like stuck somewhere in time, like a time travel movie. But yeah, I like it.
I think it's going to work out. I don't think this will be like the movie River, where we're in some kind of a time loop or something.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully we don't get oddly stuck and have to do like 3 movies from 1915 in a row.
Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to avoid. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to avoid you picking only movies from the 90s, And I didn't want to just make the rule, don't pick movies from the 90s, and I didn't want to make the rule, don't pick movies from the 90s 2 weeks in a row. I thought maybe we'll make it a little bit more of like a, kind of a game or something.
Okay. I think outside of the Max, and we'll talk about this when we do the next canonical rankings here, pretty much all the movies I've picked in the last few months are from this year. Like the last couple years.
All right. Then I see my plan is already working.
Well, I see what you're saying. So you're not just hating on the 90s, you're hating on uniformity.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to be defensive about the 90s for a minute because
you go on runs where it's all 90s. I guess it has been a little bit of time and you've been more recent focused, especially on Supper. I think you tend to be more recent focused.
Yeah. All right. I mean, the 90s was the greatest decade in the history of American culture, but
I mean, I get it. We all got and I'm going to have to, adhere to this too. So if I have to adhere and be forced to pick movies that are not from the 70s, that's a sacrifice on my part as well.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. I think, all right, I'm going to have to change around what I was thinking for next week, but I can do that on the fly. I can do that on the fly.
Yeah, come up with something from 75 or before or 2015 or later.
Oh, wait. Well, it would be based on Tomorrow, so I would have to pick something from 1950 or before. Or
no, Tomorrow is my pick.
Oh, I thought you were saying that we had to
no,
whatever the last pick was.
Next week, we're based on Tomorrow. It's based on your last pick.
Okay, so
I'm trying to avoid you constantly picking movies from the same decade over and over again. You know what I mean?
I think I see what you're saying.
So we've both got our own separate tallies that we're tracking on. You're tracking on where your picks came from. I'm tracking on where my picks came from.
All right. But then again, maybe, all right. So maybe the math doesn't work out on this because well, never mind. I guess it would because it doesn't have to be exactly 20 years. I was going to say, right. Yeah, if we go exactly 20 years in the future, then we're just going to be going exactly 20 years back into the past, but it could be older. So that doesn't.
No. Yeah, it could be older.
But it could be.
Could be.
In theory, this could make it so that every 4 weeks, I get to do a movie from the 90s. In theory, this could backfire.
In theory, once, every 4 JFSs, so I guess we're talking about once every 1.5 months, you could pick a 90s movie. Okay. And that seems like an acceptable level of 90s movies for me to tolerate.
That would probably be more 90s movies than we've done already, but yeah. I see what you're saying. But, okay.
But it would be fewer 2020s or whatever.
Much fewer 2020s.
I'm just trying to broaden the horizons of this show.
Because you hated doing Begonia so much.
Absolutely, yeah. It shook me to my core.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Seems a little paradoxical from a man who just said he wants to go to the theater more to not want to go to the theater as much and see new movies. But all right. All right.
Fair. I guess that is maybe the biggest impact of this change will be it's difficult to then schedule new release reviews when we might want to do them. But if we come to that, we can make exceptions if we want to.
Okay. All right.
I think for any of these rules, if we've got, unanimous consent between the two of us, they can be violated.
Consent is very important.
Yeah.
I've learned that.
Tickle your ass with a feather.
Exactly. Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'll have to work out the math then. So, spoiler alert here for May. I really want us to go to the theater to see the Backrooms movie since we both loved that short film so much.
Okay. When is that coming out? That's in May?
It's like May or June, I think. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. We'll figure that out.
All right. Well, all right. We'll look into it. But all right. All right. I like this rule. We'll be getting a lot of weird decades going on here. Some weird JF decades, as we like to refer to them sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. The much desired follow-up to JF decades everybody's been clamoring for.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that works.
All right. Well, but speaking of movies that we'll be doing on the show in the future, What about movies that we did on the show in the past?
Oh, you're saying that we're going to be taken back to the past to rewatch the shitty movies that suck ass. Is that right?
You dog. You dirty old dog, you.
Jackson's going to like that reference.
You're a dirty dog. But you're right. You know, as dirty a dog as you are, you're also a correct dog. And then what we're going to be doing now is the thing that we do every few months or so, where we look back at the movies that we reviewed and determine a canonical ranking for those movies. So we got 10 movies. They range from Hot Fuzz to Rico. And you and I are going to go through and just, say what we rated them on Letterboxd. And between those two ratings, we should be able to produce an average rating, I think. If my formulae are correct, I think I can do it. So, exciting stuff. Do you remember how this works?
I do, yeah. I was just a little taken aback because now that we've hit 100, yeah, it looks different on the Letterboxd list. If that makes sense. Because 100, we didn't do a number 0, but 100 is a 0, so it screws up. You know, like it used to be 1 through 10 were the ones we were talking about, and now it's, I don't know. Anyway,
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess once we review another 900 movies, it'll be back to normal, though.
Yeah, that's what we need
for a brief moment.
Doing 101 through 110 is not optimal, but all right. Or I mean 100 through
109.
Through 109.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
But it's what we must do, even if it does require us to click on the next page button on Letterboxd, because the list now traverses 2 pages. Only 100 movies per page. We can do that, and we will.
All right, I guess we'll do that.
Starting off with Hot Fuzz, a favorite of mine since I first saw it when I was a young man. Was excited to rewatch it. Had been a little bit of time. And I loved it again. I think I'll probably always think this is my favorite Edgar Wright movie. Just a ton of fun. I gave it 5 stars.
5 stars.
It's a bang counted.
Okay, I'm glad you like it that much. I also like it a great deal. I don't think it's as good as Shaun of the Dead. And I think the second act drags, as we talked about, but I still like it a great deal. So I gave it 4 stars.
4 stars? What the hell? I don't think you even watched this with the right commentary track on.
Oh, that's true. I didn't. Yeah, I should do that. But it is a very fun movie. It's very good. 4 stars is like very good.
You gotta watch it with the commentary track that's the Cornetto Ice Cream salesman.
Okay. I think you mentioned that when we did it on the show.
That's not a real thing.
Is that not a real thing? You mentioned some commentary. What's the commentary that's good?
I don't know. There's a million.
Okay.
They're all good. But it's,
all right. Well, maybe that's what you were saying then.
You would think that they would have that one because they have so many commentary tracks.
I like when they went crazy with commentary tracks. Like there's a commentary track for The Rules of Attraction where they just like rotate in a bunch of weird celebrities like over the course of the movie, and like Carrot Top and like Ron Jeremy are there, and like Carrot Top had nothing to do with the movie. He's just watching it for the first time talking about the movie. It's like so weird and great.
Yeah, let's get back to that.
Yeah.
There's that one commentary for Beyond the Gates where it's a few idiots who don't know anything about the movie yammering on and on.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best commentaries.
Back in the golden days. All right, Weyes Blood is the next movie. This is a movie starring young Charles Brad Dourif and directed by John Huston. Probably the world's oldest man at that point in time, I would imagine, in 1979. I liked this. I thought it was a really interesting kind of character study. I don't remember it kind of fully amounting to much in the end. I don't remember like walking away with a profound realization about the nature of man or anything like that, but I do remember being kind of fascinated by the characters and the kind of the world building of this version of the American South that felt even older than the 1970s that it was set in. I gave it 4 stars.
4 stars. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this feeling very sort of like muddy. It's based on a book, like a slightly famous book, and I think that I would probably want to read that book. Because the movie is sort of like plotless, and it's sort of like snapshots of a time and place, and I think that works better in a book than a movie sometimes. So I don't know. I thought this was like fine, but it wasn't anything that I particularly enjoyed, so I gave it 2.5.
What?
You gave it 2.5?
2.5. 2.5.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I see who the young Charles fan is on the show.
I do like young Charles.
That's not what I'm implying. I'm implying that I'm the bigger fan.
No, I still like him more, I think.
The implication is that you don't, based on your rating of Weyes Blood.
But I mean, well, all right. I guess
This was the original Young Charles film. I mean,
all right. I guess you're right. I guess
think of one earlier than 79.
Well, no, I guess not.
Trilogy of Terror.
One flew. Wait, yeah, I guess you're right.
All right. Okay. Well, young Charles was definitely not in the Great Buddha Arrival. This is a 2018.
Yeah.
Short-ish. Yeah, 1 hour long movie, in quotes. More kind of like a slideshow presentation or like a PowerPoint at times. About kaiju. You picked this. What was this thing? How did this happen?
This is a 2018 sequel / remake to a silent movie that was lost during the bombing during World War II of Japan. About a giant Buddha statue that runs amok through Tokyo.
I'm a fan of Japanese movies.
Exactly. Largely recognized to be the first kaiju movie ever, but the film is lost. And so these people got together, I think, in cooperation of like the grandson of the original director or something like that, to remake as best they could the original and then also put a sequel on top of it. And that sounded interesting to me, so I picked it. It's not great, though. I thought, the story's the most interesting part. The movie's fine, so I gave it 3 stars. I think it's worth checking out if you're into the history of kaijus, but if you're not, then probably avoid it, I guess.
How many bags of popcorn did you give it?
7 bags of popcorn.
Wow. And that's between the stars and the popcorn, that's a full 10.
Yeah, exactly. I think if there was a category for kaijus, I think this could win Oscar.
Well, famously, I think I declared on the show when we reviewed this that much like the Sarah Squirm quote-unquote comedy special, my intent is to leave this unrated on Letterboxd. I have it logged. Letterboxd indicates I have seen this, and that is enough for me because I don't want to discourage people from checking out what was definitely a labor of love, probably made for, nearly $0. But, dude, please never pick anything like this for the show again. I should have made my Prosclarmation no more Great Buddha Arrivals, because this, even describing it as a PowerPoint, I think is being generous. This sucked. What is the lowest rating that I can give? Is it 0 or is it 0.5?
Yeah, it's half.
Okay, well then that's what this is.
Because that's the Letterboxd rules.
That's the Letterboxd lowest, yeah. Which I would give on Letterboxd. Like, if I ever find out the director of this is a shithead or something, and I no longer care about protecting his feelings, it's 0.5 all day long on this, because that's what this is. But hopefully he never hears this, and hopefully our listeners forget that I was so, harsh against this. Because, like I said, I got no beef against the man, but Jesus Christ, I got nothing out of this.
Well, that's because you don't respect the Japanese of this country and you hate kaijus.
There you are, you otaku son of a bitch.
It's true.
Yeah, I feel like I probably should have picked this on a Kevin week because Kevin loves kaijus and history. So I feel
love
like he
kaijus and history.
No, you don't. You hate this proves that you don't like kaijus or history.
Goodness. Maybe if they'd added a young Charles in there, I would have liked it.
Well, I mean, it is a statue possessed by the soul of a guy, so like that's kind of a young Charles movie.
And you make these claims having never even seen an OG Daimajin movie. You know, let's get you the Daiei classic Daimajin movies from the 1960s. Those are some stone-ass statues stomping on villages that I do enjoy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, those movies survived all the wars of the world. I like stuff that's a little bit more underground. I like movies that were destroyed during World War II and were made in the silent film era. I don't know. I just don't like it. The mainstream kaiju movies that you're into,
Fair enough. Yeah, you can catch me on Netflix, streaming all the mainstream kaijus. You're over there on Canopy, the deep cuts. Well, Tokyo Godfathers is another Japanese movie. We've got a problem, I would say, on this podcast where we respect the Japanese a little bit too much, I would say, sometimes when it comes to certain picks. But in other cases, it's fully warranted and justified that we would pick yet another Satoshi Kon film, director of Paprika and Perfect Blue, and sadly too few movies because the guy died early. I love Tokyo Godfathers. Kind of a sweet movie in terms of his canon, but still challenging in its own ways. Has a lot of like baby in peril type stuff that you wouldn't really see in a American animated film, I don't think. But I really like Tokyo Godfathers. Not my number one favorite Satoshi Kon, but still, I think a great film that I gave 4.5 stars.
I liked this a great deal. I also gave it 4 stars. I mean, not also, but I guess also. 4.5 counts as 4.
Also,
I gave it 4 is what I mean to say. The animation is fantastic. Characters are interesting. Yeah, it's good. It's a good one.
And you like that kind of hustle.
I do like that kind of hustle.
Tell me about Call Me. I think this is a Bowman pick.
Yeah, this is definitely a me pick because it's an erotic thriller. My favorite genre of film. I forget what got it on my radar. I had never seen it before when we picked it. But there's a few weird scenes in it that I think are a little bit infamous. And it has a real sleazy New York City vibe to it.
Yeah. And it's got a really long telephone cord on the poster. I think that's why you picked it.
Probably. That long telephone cord does play a big role in the plot, too, which is odd. And yeah, it's an early Steve Buscemi movie. Kind of a fun movie. Like, it's a very late entry into the sleazy, like, New York, like, kind of almost a Giallo movie, sort of, like, genre, which is kind of interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was, like, fun and sleazy. I gave it 3.5 stars. What did you think?
I liked that telephone cord. Didn't care about the rest. I gave it 3.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
But it was a really great telephone cord. So,
yeah, I mean, that poster is wonderful.
Brings back memories. Hanging out in my bedroom in 1988 with a very long telephone cord and sheer pantyhose. You remember those days, Bowman?
I remember those days. I was there.
All right. At the Earth's Core is the next movie.
Yep.
You were there for that too when we reviewed this 1976 adaptation, not of Journey to the Center of the Earth, but of some other movie I forget that's or some other book that is basically the same story. Written by Edgar Rice Burroughs. What was it, like the Hollow Earth series or whatever? I don't know. Who knows? Who cares?
I think so, yeah.
Peter Cushing was in this. People tell me he's a good actor. I'm still waiting to find out if that's true. I did like Carolyn Monroe in this, though. She was a fox and a half, so
Yeah.
it got 3 of my stars.
Yeah. I like Peter Cushing. He's got more Cushing for the pushing. That's why I like him.
Baba boom.
Sexually. This is my favorite of the Journey to the Center of the Earth movies we've done. There's a scene where a psychic tries to take control of Peter Cushing's mind, and he says, "You cannot mesmerize me. I'm British." And that's funny to me. So I gave it 3.5 stars.
Oh, wow. This might be the first time that you have rated a Journey flick higher than me.
Yeah. I think it's the first time I've rated a Journey flick into the positive numbers. Usually they're 2.5 and below, which means bad.
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder what this means. Maybe you're starting to come around to these. It's some kind of Stockholm Syndrome type thing.
Could be, yeah. Just me dealing with the trauma of seeing 8 of these movies over the course of 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, you're starting to identify with your captors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, Send Help. Speaking of captive,
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's island set thriller, like a horror movie, maybe black comedy, perhaps. Came out a couple months ago or something like that, and we reviewed it because in those days we had no restrictions on the years of release. Maybe it was for the better. I guess we'll find out a year from now whether or not this Prosclarmation is a wise idea, but seeing Send Help seemed like a wise idea at the time, and I guess I don't regret it. I wanted more from this, I'll be honest. I really want that big return to form for Sam Raimi, and for me this wasn't it. This felt very just kind of diet horror movie. I'm glad that he made some money. Seems like it did okay at the theaters, made enough, so hopefully he gets to make more, and hopefully they're, a little bit more, I don't know, have a little bit more bite next time. But what did you think about Send Help?
I liked it a great deal. I thought that it, felt very Sam Raimi. A lot of the Sam Raimi tricks and energy that he puts into all his stuff was there. 2 great performances from the leads. Yeah, I mean, I think Sam Raimi's an old man, and he's probably not going to make anything as raw as Evil Dead ever again, or as silly as Army of Darkness.
I'll even take it. Drag Me to Hell.
I really need to rewatch that movie. I didn't like it when I first saw it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, everybody loves it, and yeah, I feel like my main reason for not liking it was just because it wasn't as silly as Army of Darkness or as raw as Evil Dead. So
yeah, and that's fair. It's not on that level at all, but that is the level that I expected out of Send Help, and if I had gotten at least that, I would have been satisfied. But for me, Send Help, I think, is just like a step below that, where it's more generic and more kind of aimless and doesn't really know what to do in its third act, and makes some, I think, unforgivable mistakes in terms of its characters and who kills who and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it all works pretty well. I gave it 4 stars. How many stars did you give it?
Oh, wow. I gave it 3.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was very fun.
All right, Destination Moonbase Alpha. This was a compilation film, I think the first compilation film from the British TV show Space 1999, as you would imagine, a sci-fi show, starring Martin Landau and Barbara Bain and some other people. I still have not gotten into the show. I think I maybe threatened while we reviewed this that I would start watching the show. Haven't done that, but I still feel like that's a possibility. I think I will eventually get around to watching Space 1999, because even if this particular compilation movie was maybe not the best introduction to the series, strangely, it's like a storyline that comes kind of late in the run. and doesn't really give any context for like who these characters are or like why some of them can shapeshift and stuff like this. The fact that some of them could shapeshift was exciting to me, and all of the aesthetics here are like exactly the aesthetic that I love in terms of 70s space stuff. So I like this. I had fun. 3.5 stars.
I kind of barely. Oh yeah, no, I remember this. Yeah, it was sort of like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, but real.
Yeah, and had a number of clips from Journey to the Center of the Eye that the filmmakers of this worked into their project.
Mm-hmm.
Strangely, they took a time machine and stole from my film.
Very odd. This has been watched by 224 people on Letterboxd, which is bananas. That is a very low number. Yeah, I think I like this in theory. Like, this is probably the kind of thing that I would have liked when I was like 15 and like kind of weird and cheap things, you know, like Mystery Science Theater movies, you know, were very fun to me. This is probably like, well, maybe it isn't, but this feels very much like something you would have watched on Mystery Science Theater. But like, you know, now I just kind of thought it was kind of boring. But so I gave it 2.5. But there's like some redeeming things about it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you've got that metamorphosis lady. That's a redeeming quality.
Yeah, I liked when she turned into a samurai.
Yeah, she turns into all kinds of stuff. Weird, like space aliens, and I think she just turns into a tiger at one point. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
She's
it was
cool.
like very horny. There was like a horny old lady or two.
Yeah. All right. Well, River was our next movie. This is a recent-ish, 2023 Japanese movie from the guy that did, what was it, Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
Junta Yamaguchi. And this is sort of similar to Beyond the Infinite 2 Minutes. It's another time loop movie. This one is set at like a ryokan, like a Japanese inn in a small village, I think outside of Kyoto, maybe.
Yeah.
And, well, what did you think about River? This was one of your picks.
I did pick this, not knowing that it's a sort of sequel to that other movie that we did on the show a few years ago. And yeah, I like the inventiveness of it. You know, very like just the one set. It all takes place in this hotel. It's like, you know, probably a dozen actors in it or something. Not, you know, because every 2 minutes everything resets. Like they can't travel too far away from a starting point. So it's like they, you know, really had to pack in a bunch of ideas to keep this one setting and these very few actors like fresh and energetic. And I thought that they nailed it. It's probably not as good as the first one, but I think they're different enough that this one also deserves to exist. And I gave it 3.5.
Okay, a very respectable score, 3.5. I liked a lot of this. I liked the way that it was shot. I liked the location. I liked the actors, and I liked the characters that they played. But there's like it's hard to really even talk about it without spoiling it, but there's like a plot machination that happens about halfway through this where I'm just like, now I hate this movie. And I talked about it in our review, so I guess if you want to know why I didn't like River, you can listen to that. But ultimately, 2.5 stars from me.
Yeah. There are a few twists in this that I'm fine with the one that you hate, but then there's another one that I also didn't really care for. That happens later.
Yeah. But still an interesting filmmaker that I'll keep my eye on this Junta.
Yeah. But will you be keeping your eye on the work of Tullio Demicelli, the director of Rico?
Can't keep my eyes off the guy.
Well, he's done a lot of movies.
Yeah, director of 53 films. That's a pretty nice run.
Yeah.
Rico being the second most seen, with only 717 views on Letterboxd. Assignment Terror is nearly at 2,000. That's the one with the weird ass Italian Frankenstein.
Yep. And a Wolfman.
And all the Universal guys are in there.
Yeah.
None of the Universal monsters were in Rico, though. Only Christopher Mitchum, one of the Mitchum boys, you know. Maybe not my favorite Mitchum boy, but a Mitchum boy.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a strange one, you know. On one hand, a fairly routine sort of revenge picture, crime picture, not unlike a lot of low-budget Italian crime movies from the early 1970s. Except for like a couple of scenes, especially the one at the end, where a man gets brutally castrated in graphic detail, and then they shove the junk in the guy's mouth and then throw him in a pit of acid where he, is melted down to his bones. And it's incredibly gnarly. And I mean, for that reason alone, I have a lot of love for this movie. You know, even if it is only 45 seconds or something, the inclusion of those seconds is precious to me. And the rest of it is fun. I don't know. It's not great. It's most of it. If you cut out those couple scenes that are real gnarly, this is probably like a 2-star picture. But you put those in, and they are in. I'm looking at 4 stars for Rico. I love this kind of violence.
I also love this kind of violence. I watched the American version, which had no violence at all.
Yeah, we can't really handle it over here, it turns out.
Yeah. Only when the president does it can we handle it. Genocide's fine, but watching a guy cut off a fake wiener is a little too much for us.
Bowman, this is not a political podcast.
I'm sorry.
I would ask you to keep your politics to yourself.
All right. I probably would have given this 2 stars based on what I saw because it's boring as fuck. But then on the show, we watched the castration scene that I missed, instantly bumped up to 3. If I had seen it in real time, I probably also would have given it 4 based on that scene alone.
Yeah.
Because it's magnificent.
And I think you might have missed a couple other little moments too. So this would be worth revisiting, I would say, when you feel like you've had enough distance from it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think that, I think the real version's something like 7 minutes longer or something like that.
Yeah, they melt a few other dudes in the acid bath that I think get cut out of the U.S. version.
Yeah, which is a real shame because the tagline is even no swords, no guns, no knives, no weapons, just a burning pool of acid. Yeah, and if you watch the version on Tubi, I don't think there is a burning pool of acid.
And there's certainly plenty of guns, and I think even knives. Probably no swords. I mean, very few of these Italian crime movies have swords, but
yeah.
It's a ridiculous tagline for a lot of reasons, because, Rico is carrying a gun on the poster.
Yeah. Very odd.
In one cut, you've got guns and acid, and the other cut, just the guns. But either way, a confusing tagline. But I don't know, fun movie, I thought. More people need to see Rico. Only 700 have seen it.
Yeah. This is... Friend of the show, Justin, all right, did we ascertain that he watched this?
It looks like he rated it 3 stars, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to see the real version, because I bet he probably saw the not real version, which is why he's
he
rating
watched it 10 years ago, it looks like. So I'm betting he had that fake-ass US videotape version.
Yeah, this really feels like a Justin movie to me. Yeah, well, all right, well, those are the 10.
Yeah, that's all 10. Can you believe it?
I cannot. Some good ones in there. Nothing too horrible, by my counts anyway.
Okay, well then let's step through the official ratings and we'll see if there's any qualms that we need to settle or any ties we need to break.
Oh yeah, we got to break some ties here.
Yeah, let's go through the order. So the best movie that we saw in this bunch clearly was Hot Fuzz, 4.5 stars. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Godfathers, 4.25 stars. Okay, that's, I think, indisputable.
Yeah.
Now things get a little bit dicey. At 3.5 stars, is Rico better than Send Help? I would argue yes.
I think Send Help is obviously better, because Rico is really just 2 good scenes and the rest is boring as hell.
Yeah, but I mean, given that it's 1973 and we're shoving, guys' dicks into their mouths after chopping them off, I think we're going to give some kind of credit for that.
I think we should give some kind of credit to our boy Sam Raimi. One of the goats.
Just because it's Sam Raimi and he's one of the goats and he wasn't even included in that new goat animated movie, we'll show him some love. But after that, we've got 3 movies at 3 1/4. Weyes Blood, Call Me, and At the Earth's Core. And I think Weyes, you got to give it up for our man John Huston, right? I mean, that he's probably one of the most revered filmmakers of all time.
That is true. And Brad Dourif's a good actor. I'd be fine leaving that at the top of this list.
All right, let's do that. Plus, it makes us seem smart that we pick something based on a book.
Yeah. Well, yeah, by that method, let's bump At the Earth's Core above Call Me, since that's also based on a book, and we'll look even smarter.
Okay. I'm into that.
I think that's good logic.
And then we've got at 3 stars, Destination Moonbase Alpha and River.
Yeah. I would go, obviously, with River, but I'm, if you're like super in love with Destination Moonbase Alpha, then that's fine too, I guess.
You know what? I think I am in love with it. I think I want to marry it. We're going to have a nice space wedding. So, yeah,
Okay.
let's leave that where it is.
Okay.
And then
So
The Great
we got-
Buddha Rival, a movie that we're going to pretend that we never reviewed on the show. Probably the last time we'll mention it is right now.
Yeah. We'll put 2 Japanese movies at the bottom, because I know how you hate the Japanese of this country.
I'm a fan of Japanese movies.
All right, that looks like a fine list. I can, yeah. I mean, that looks fine with me. There's nothing in here that's egregious looking to me.
All right, very nice. At some point, we will have to resolve these rankings alongside all of the other rankings. And that's going to be a process.
Yeah, we'll probably be doing that on like the last episode ever. That's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a long episode.
We're going to be up all night ranking these movies.
We're going to be up all night doing that homework.
I like it a great deal.
That's you ranking a movie right there.
We need more drops that come from the corn, I think.
Yeah, I think that's true. Well, I got this.
Okay.
Is that from Corn?
Yeah, it's Telly Savalas saying "okay" in the middle of his story about a utility infielder for the Boston Red Sox.
That's a good one.
I think the exact place is where he says, "I was in the woods, actually a wooded area," when he makes that clarification, and then he goes into a story. But before going into the story, he says, "Okay."
What the hell is the difference between the woods and a wooded area?
I love the look of panic on Telly Savalas' face in that moment where he's like, I need to make the clarification. These guys are going to think it was the woods, but it was actually a wooded area. He's like so quick. It's like when you drop something and you catch it before it hits the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Man. That guy's something.
We love him. Anyways, who else do we love on this show?
Oh, I'll tell you who we love. We love our man Will from Richmond. He's calling in
Oh,
on the junk mail line. Can you believe it?
Okay.
This is why we can't get callers, because you're always playing the O drop whenever they call in.
I know.
Making them feel bad.
I know. And they don't even know what it means, Like the callers are always asking, you're playing the O drop over my call. Is that sarcasm? What is the, message that you're trying to indicate with this drop? And I like to leave it to mystery.
Yeah. When they ask that, you just play a different drop of a guy saying okay.
I just play this.
Well, here's what Will has to say.
Hello, Junk Food Dinner Pals. It's Will from Richmond. Let's see. A little bit of housekeeping. A while ago, one of our phone pals mentioned movie places that you've been. East Coast, DC, it is easy. Every time I go to DC, I go to see The Exorcist Stairs. You got to go see The Exorcist Stairs when in DC. Second thing, let's see. Talking about Gamera movies, I think one of the secret better ones of the original Gamera season is Gamera versus Jiger. It's insane. It's inner space before inner space, and there is some footage of an elephant getting surgery. It has some kind of bacterial infection that I can't believe made it into a kid's movie. And I also like how Gamera, one, just kills his enemies, like, just ruthlessly in the end. They all just die. In Godzilla, they kind of explode off screen, but Gamera, like, murks people, just dead between the eyes every time. Gamera doesn't F around. Don't F with Gamera. Lastly, very important. So if you're following my lead and watching ER, just end it at season 11, because season 12 fucking sucks. I couldn't get through it. Could not get through it at all. And who knows how many seasons there are after. It doesn't matter. It's garbage. The guy from RoboCop's dead. All my favorite characters are ruined. It's shit. Anyway, hope you guys are good. Looking forward to the show. Take care of yourselves. Talk soon. Bye.
Thank you, Will, for calling in. Disheartening to hear about ER. I've been meaning to watch that show. I never watched it at the time, but I've been watching The Pit, which is basically an actionable ripoff of ER. And it's got me in the mood to watch it.
Yeah, with more cameos from the Max than you expected, though.
Many more.
Like the,
he was
like
cut
the
out
Image
of the
comic book.
Yeah, he was cut out of the MTV one. I think we forgot to mention that last week.
Yeah.
But
they replaced him with some lookalike or whatever. Not even a lookalike, but some generic ass guy.
Yeah, they replaced him with Rhett Quarkin, the mountain person. Same with Mako from Savage Dragon. He was replaced with just like a different generic shark guy. But anywho, The Exorcist Stairs would be fun to see in real life.
Yeah, I've never been there. I've been to DC. That's where that is, right? I think you mentioned that.
Yep.
But I never saw those steps. I fucked up big time.
Yeah, those would be fun. I would really like to see the Quick Stop place, you know? I'm probably never going to go to New Jersey unless Wayne invites me to come spend the weekend with him. But if I ever do, I would really like to see the Quick Stop. I think that would be a nice thing to see in real life.
Yeah. I was hoping to see, you've seen the 1970s King Kong, right? You know, at the end of that movie, they're fighting on top of those two big skyscrapers that are like the same height down there in Lower Manhattan.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I've seen those in a lot of movies, and the Spider-Man trailer, I think I remember them from. So I'm hoping to get over to New York and check those out.
Yeah, you should go see those. I was there. It's been a while now. I was there on September 10th, 2001, and they were beautiful.
How did you remember? I would have forgotten that date.
You can never forget that.
So it was you all along.
It was. Yeah, but I don't know. Have you watched ER before? Have we talked about this?
I don't really like medical drama stuff, I don't think. Although that is like an element in Peyton Place, which I've still been, I watch like one episode of Peyton Place a month, I think, I don't know why I'm so slow on it, but I do enjoy it. And there's a little bit of that medical drama, but other than that, it's not really a genre that I've ever really gotten, into.
Yeah. I don't normally like it, but I like The Pit a lot. So I feel like I should dive deeper into some of this stuff. Although the new season of The Pit's kind of whatever. It's like real kind of like preaching at the choir with some of its politics. It's kind of boring. Like, I don't know. But maybe it needs to be that because it's such a broad TV show that maybe it's not preaching to the choir, I guess. Like maybe it's hitting a bunch of people who think ice is good or something, and maybe that's needed. But I don't know. It's a lot of like jack off hand motion type stuff where people just like do big monologues about stuff that seems self-evident. But it's still a good show. It's still a good show.
I feel like we don't get as much of that now, where it's like shows commenting week by week on the different topics of the day or like the cultural conversation. It seems more like you're apt to get a show that picks one thing and then dives deep into that for the entire series, you know?
Yeah, that's true. And I guess that's an interesting thing about the pit. Like one episode will be like, ice guys bring in somebody who's hurt and the doctors need to take care of him and they deal with like ice guys. And then like the next episode will be like a guy who needs to pay for his medicine, but you know, he doesn't have insurance. And now they're dealing with that. So yeah, it is like very topical, I guess. So if you're into that, it's probably pretty fun, but it's, you know, I just like to relax during entertainment sometimes.
I understand. But that's one of the things I liked about South Park was, you know, that feeling of, oh yeah, this is something that's currently happening and it's interesting to see it reflected in media.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun when South Park does it because like they're so quick with their shows that like they can literally comment on something that happened like that day if they want to. Like they're on a whole nother level of doing that.
Well, speaking of being on a whole nother level, I think I'm ready to advance to the next level in which we review our feature film of the week, Toomorrow from 1970, but what say a Bowman?
That sounds perfect to me.
All right, let's do that. We'll be right back.
1979 será el año de Tomorrow, Tomorrow, mañana. Take it all, sweet time. Olivia Newton John, que triunfó en Weyes, ahora triunfa de nuevo en Toomorrow, Tomorrow, mañana.
Dígame, ¿qué opina de las entradas?
No tengo opinión. Pregúntele a la batería.
Disculpe, el caballero de la batería. ¿Podría darme su opinión sobre las entradas?
¿Quién, yo?
Sí, ¿es una cosa buena o mala?
Es una bomba.
Tienes que hacer esto. Vete a casa y toma un baño caliente. Es el mejor tranquilizante que conozco. Deja la mente en blanco.
Ya lo está.
Entonces, ¿qué tienes que perder?
¿Sabes qué otra cosa me gusta?
¿Tú?
Me gusta el ritmo.
Y a mí.
Y me gustas tú.
Y a mí tú.
Tomorrow, Tomorrow, mañana.
Susan.
Y de repente amaneció.
Ah, hola, Fran.
Vosotros habéis acabado, ¿no?
Fran, por amor de Dios. Ven aquí, muñequita. ¿Cuál es el problema?
No hay problema. Ya me han besado en la oreja esta mañana 2 veces.
Oh. Bueno, esto lo cambia un poco.
Provisiones disponibles.
Otro. ¡Tú no, idiota!
Baby, I know you've been beat. You've had too much bitter and not enough sweet. But if you try with me, maybe you'll be...
Buenos días, señor Thomas. Hemos empezado sin usted, espero que no le importe.
Tomorrow, Tomorrow, mañana. Una película alegre, dinámica, con la música y los ritmos que enloquecen a la juventud de hoy.
De eso nada, ven.
Libby, es nuestra única oportunidad si queremos actuar esta noche. Empieza el número, nena, y viene.
Yo nunca he distraído a un policía.
Venga, al coche, deprisa.
Pero yo voy con vosotros.
¿Así? ¿Te detendrán por exhibicionista? tomorrow, mañana. Próximamente en esta sala.
Welcome back to Junk Food Supper. The movie on the show this week is Toomorrow from 1970. And first off, I think we can probably both admit that this turned out to be a movie that was maybe more fun in theory than it actually turned out to be in practice.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah, right? I mean, and I had my reasons for picking this, and to be honest, they were mostly James Bond-related reasons. After making that space drugs video last week, I was going through the filmography of Harry Saltzman, the co-founder of Eon Productions, producer of the first 9 James Bond movies, including my favorite 1971's Diamonds Are Forever. And I noticed that right before Diamonds Are Forever, this guy produced another sci-fi movie called Toomorrow. And not just a sci-fi movie, but a sci-fi musical. And I'm thinking, wow, 1970, this presages Phantom of the Paradise and Rocky Horror, and maybe this is like the original midnight movie musical sort of a thing. And then I noticed, like, well, wait a minute, the director of this is Val Guest, who co-directed the Casino Royale movie from the 60s, another James Bond connection. And then I'm looking into it a little bit further, and I see, well, and the cast of this movie is, well, it's a band that I've never heard of, led by a young, pre-fame Olivia Newton John. Insert the drop here, I guess. And this band was put... There you go, exactly. And the band was put together by Don Kirshner, the guy who, right around this time, I think, put together that TV show, Don Kirshner's Rock Concert, which if you're ever looking for clips of 1970s bands playing on TV, you've probably come across that show. And this guy also, Don Kirshner, put together the Monkees before putting together this band Toomorrow. So this is kind of like his follow-up to the Monkees, a real band that, you know, he was hoping would take off. And, you know, since Olivia Newton John had not yet had much success in her career, it is kind of interesting to think of how different her life might have been and the world of pop culture might have been if the band was popular or this movie was popular. You know, it probably would have changed a lot of stuff. But instead, the band, I think, only existed for a couple years. Ultimately, is only kind of a weird footnote in her life. But all of this had me super interested. And then I saw on the Wikipedia page that this was a nearly lost film. It says right here, it was shown in the London Pavilion for only a week and then was shelved. Aside from isolated showings in the British Forces cinemas during 71 and 72 on British military bases, it was not seen in public for over 4 decades until, I think, the 2012 DVD release, as evidenced by Tony Clifton's movie. I'm a big fan of lost films. And so all of this had me interested, you know, and, you know, another factor is that this is 1970 and it's a sci-fi movie. And I feel like that's kind of a rare thing. There's not a lot of sci-fi in the early 70s. You know, there's a ton in the 1950s. And then in the 60s, you get a lot of TV sci-fi, things like Lost in Space or Star Trek. And then there's like a pretty big gap where there's not a lot of sci-fi happening in the Western world until like Logan's Run in 1976. So, you know, based on all of these things and based on the few pictures that I saw online, where visually this kind of looks a little bit like Mario Bava's Planet of the Vampires movie, I was hyped. I was super hyped, you know? And then, you know, after I actually started watching this, things went downhill pretty quickly. First off, Amazon lied to me twice. When you Google this movie, Amazon tells you, or at least Google tells me, that it's going to be 99 cents on Amazon and that it will be in high def. Turns out it is $2 to rent. And while they claim this is high definition, this is some pretty low quality pixel action. And side note, by the way, this movie somehow was rated 4.5 stars on Amazon, which I cannot believe. But anyhow, bad pixels aside, the movie starts and nothing happens. Is that about right? Is this a movie in which nothing happens? Would you say that, Bowman?
I mean, I think by the last scene, like, it's confirmed that literally nothing happens in the entire movie.
Yeah.
But even, before you get there, pretty much nothing happens in this entire movie.
There is a plot description here on Wikipedia, and I'm going to step through this real quick, because I think that they're lying through their teeth when they say that things happened in this movie. John Williams is an alien alphoid who was adopted human form and lived on Earth for millennia. Okay, that's true. There's a guy in this called John Williams, confusingly, who is an alien. Galactic Control instructs him to investigate a strange vibration they've detected coming from planet Earth. Yeah, that happens. The sound is being produced by Olivia and her pop band Toomorrow from the sonic vibrations emitted by their special amp, a tonalizer. Now, here's the part where I don't think this actually happens. Williams abducts the group and has them entertain the alphoid population on his home planet. I remember them being abducted. What I remember then happening is that they play for two guys in a spaceship for 30 seconds and then they're back on Earth. Did we ever go to a home planet? Do you remember an alien planet in this movie?
I do not.
I'm pretty sure I would remember an alien planet, Bowman.
Yeah, there might have been a dropped line or something, oh, we'll stop by the planet and then we'll go back to Earth or something like that. I feel like something like that sounds vaguely familiar, but yeah, we did not see a planet.
I even scrubbed through the movie right before showtime looking for evidence of this alien home planet. I didn't find it, so I don't know. Overall, it's pretty plotless. There's this alien guy kind of dicking around with these kids in this rock band. But, since we don't even really know these kids in this rock band, you don't really give a shit about what's happening. If this was like a Monkees movie instead, where you've got some sort of established relationship with these characters or expectations as to how they might act, seeing them in a new context, with an alien might be something. But in this context, it's, just a bunch of strangers that we don't really know anything about, doing pretty much nothing. It's doubly frustrating because they do show us these outer space aliens in the very first scene, but then you gotta wait 40 minutes for them to come back, and then when they come back, they don't really do anything. So it's a lot of dead air. I guess that would make this kind of ripe for a Mystery Science Theater, if they haven't already hit this up, and I think they probably haven't because it was lost for so long. Also, if you're a fan of British room tone, I think you'll like this movie with all those empty silences. I know we've got some listeners out there that prefer British room tone.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the most notable thing on screen in this movie is that we do see a fully nude black girl from behind in an art modeling class. And I think that's not a very common sight cinematically in 1970, right?
Yeah. I think the nudity and also that the nude person would be black is probably pretty rare for the time.
Yeah, I mean, I called out her race, I hope for a reason, not just because I'm a racist piece of shit. It was notable to me. Wow, it's a minority dropping trow.
Yeah, definitely, notable for both things.
And notable also for who that woman is. Do you know who that woman is?
I do not.
This blew my mind. This is maybe my favorite thing about this movie now, is the fact that I learned through this movie that woman is, and to give it another crazy connection to space drugs, that's the wife of Michael Caine, mentioned in Space Drugs.
Ah, okay.
Sean Connery was talking about going to dinner with Michael Caine and his wife. This is the wife being mentioned. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about Michael Caine's wife, but her name is Shakira, Lady Caine.
Okay. Are you now very upset that you saw this a week late and can't edit clips of her into?
I'm absolutely furious. The only thing I can do now, I guess, is come up with some sort of sequel to Space Drugs that does incorporate Shakira, Lady Kane.
Yeah.
Because she's a fetching lady, and yeah, interesting life for this lady. So she's a Guyanese former actress, fashion model, and beauty pageant title holder who competed at Miss World 1967, where she was the second runner-up. After seeing her on the BBC TV quiz show Where in the World and in a Brazilian TV ad for Maxwell House Coffee in 1971, Michael Caine became obsessed with finding the woman that he considered to be the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. From a friend in the advertising business, he discovered that she lived only a few miles from him in London, and then they got married in Vegas in 73.
Very
romantic. So that's kind of a fun story. Michael Caine fell in love with this lady after seeing her on TV. I guess he didn't see this movie, or he might have fallen in love with her beautiful behind about a year prior, but word got out eventually. They did link up, and that's it's good for them. In terms of the music in this, I'd say it's pretty decent. It's like hippie era orchestral pop rock. If you like stuff like Harper's Bazaar, you might dig this. You got all the sugary, sweet string sections you'll ever need, and a funky drummer too. So, and some pretty rad early synthesizer stuff in the form of that tonalizer. So, I did like the sound of the songs, and I like the look of the aliens. I thought for 1970. They were decent, and when they play their own shitty electronic music, you can tell that they're embarrassed by it, and even they know that it's a trash song that they're playing for these hippies. And I thought that was a fun little scene. But they don't do a whole lot in this. Like the one guy, John Williams, has a superpower where he can pull things out of a photograph and make them real, I guess is kind of his superpower. And I don't think that seems like something that aliens would be doing if they landed here on Earth. Call me crazy. And that's about all that there is here. There's no stakes, really. There's not even really clear what's happening for a lot of the movie. Are they being abducted? Or maybe they're just being studied while they live normal lives? I don't know. Is there any kind of romantic tension or danger or anything in this? It's hard to say, And despite, the one naked butt in this, and I think a second naked butt later on, and the fact that the aliens do go to see Son of Fanny Hill at a porno theater, despite all of that, this is still an extremely PG movie. I think you could probably run this movie on PBS before breakfast, because everybody in this is very inoffensive, and everything about it is just trying to be kind of sugary, sweet, and light and fluffy. But sadly, there's really nothing else to it. So I can't really recommend Toomorrow. I kind of feel bad picking this. Hopefully you found something to enjoy here, despite the garbage pixels and overall ramshackle nature of this. But what did you think, Bowman?
Well, there's a really hot alien lady that has big boobs.
Yeah.
I like her. The rest of this movie, I don't know. That's interesting that this is sort of tangentially related to the Monkees, because it really felt like a Monkees spin-off or something. I was getting a lot of Monkees vibes throughout it. It feels like a backdoor pilot to a TV show, if you would have had one scene of this band meeting the Monkees or something, it could have worked as a spin-off pilot for a whole new show. That would have been canceled probably after 6 episodes, because nobody in this movie is interesting at all. Nothing is clear. The stakes are not clear. Nobody's motivations are clear. Nobody has a clear personality at all, even with the Monkees, it's Davy's the cute one, and you got whichever one was the silly one, and you got this one over here, doing this. It's been a while since I've watched a Monkees episode, but I remember them all having clear personalities, or at least archetypes, and not so with these folks. One's a girl. I mean, that's as much personality as they have. Olivia Newton John is cool, I guess. She's got nice gams. She's wearing very short 70s shorts, but she's boring as hell. Which is, why she was cast as Sandra Dee, because Sandra Dee's kind of a boring character, and she does that role well. But when she's here playing, like a hip young rock and roller, it doesn't really go anywhere. The aliens are dorky. Like, they look kind of cool. They look like owls, which is kind of interesting because, like, there's that whole thing about, like, aliens showing up as owls when they look at you through the window, and I think that might be from Communion. And here they kind of look like owls, so that's kind of an interesting thing. I wonder. I mean, I guess this probably couldn't have been influential on anybody since it was lost and nobody's seen it, but an interesting coincidence, I guess then. The way they move is dumb, where it's like they're phasing through space holographically. I think that's kind of dorky. Unnecessary.
Well, but they had to do something, because without that, there are no other special effects in the entire movie.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's either that or nothing, or they just walk around like normal dudes, so... Yeah,
honestly, I was treasuring those moments. Like, whenever we were in the middle of a scene, I knew at least at the end I'm going to get a second and a half of a film effect, a special effect it'll be something.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. But also it's like, you're going to really enhance just walking from one spot in the frame to the other. Like, I don't know, do something better with it. But I do get what you're saying. It is the only thing of any visual interest in the movie.
Which is shocking coming from this team, like the guy who produced the first 9 James Bond movies. Like, the reason I picked this is I expected it was going to look great. Like I think this guy spends money like nobody's business. That's what he's all about, is spending money. Oh, and he hired Ken Russell's DP, Dick Bush, to shoot the thing.
Oh yeah, I did see his credit prominently in the opening.
Yeah,
very funny credit.
With Dick Bush at the helm, it's going to be a fine looking feature.
Mm-hmm. That's my Bush.
Let's be honest, Ken Russell definitely picked Dick Bush as his DP just based on his name, right?
I see no other reason.
Yeah.
There's a scene at the beginning where a guy's taking a bath and he gets up out of the bath, and then a different guy gets in the bath water to take a bath, and that's weird. I wonder if that was a regular occurrence in those olden days. It must have been, I guess. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have a lot of water in the old days. And then that's it. I don't know. That's about it. I don't know. There's a couple of foxy ladies in the movie. There's a scene of, like a rock and roll scene that's kind of interesting and would be better if the music wasn't so bad.
You didn't like this music?
No.
Oh,
it was like,
but you don't like Harper's Bazaar.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's like this.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's like very like kind of like just G-rated kind of stuff, and like not even like good like in a bubblegum way, like like the Archies or something. Like I think it's like kind of going for that kind of feel, but it's like not catchy and fun. It's sort of like a mix between like the Archies and some, I don't know, it's just some bland hippie rock.
You didn't like that tonalizer?
Tonalizer was cool. I like the tonalizer.
All right.
That's about it. I like the tonalizer. That ending sucks real bad. I don't know if we should spoil it. I mean, not that there's anything.
That it was all a dream?
Yeah, it's all a dream.
Yeah.
But it's like they do it like a double thing where it's like, they have like the big rock and roll show and stuff, and then like they cut to like the very first scene again where the guy's taking a bath in the bathwater that was just used by another guy, and Olivia Newton John's making them all breakfast because it's a sexist movie. And like, so like they do that, like it's all a dream. Oh, what happened? But then one of the aliens has left their sunglasses. So like they do the switcheroo where it's all a dream, but then they switcheroo on top of the switcheroo, and it's like a hat on a hat. And like, So was it all? I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. It's like too much. They're doing too much with too little.
Well, on the upside, if you choose to go on Letterboxd and point out that Olivia Newton John made breakfast for these men, I think you might get the highest rated review on the site out of any movie. Right? Yeah. That's all it takes, man. Call out the inherent sexism in a movie released 50 years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, that is how Letterboxd works a lot nowadays. Or you just you just make some, whatever the current meme is, you just plug the name of the movie into that, I don't know what the current meme is, so I don't have any examples, but that's pretty much all you need to do on Letterboxd these days.
What if I do an ASCII art image of a guy face palming himself? Can that get me a highly rated review?
I think so. I think that would work.
All right, well, one thing for sure is that this movie is not getting a high rating for me. I had high hopes, but sometimes they get dashed. I guess they should have came up with more than 10 minutes worth of story for this feature-length film.
Yeah, that would have helped.
I also think, maybe if I had watched it with a friend and we were doing an MST type experience, riffing on it, maybe it'd be fun for, that. But I didn't. I watched it solo bolo and was pretty much ready for it to be over with by the end. Apparently it is getting a BFI Blu-ray release in a couple months, so I fucked up in a number of ways by picking this after making Space Drugs, but before the Blu-ray. This is the period where you don't want to be watching this, and that's when I picked it, so I fucked up.
Yeah, well, when that comes out, maybe we can tell Kevin to watch it. I think this would, even though this is super boring, I bet this would be kind of a Kevin movie.
Yeah, I do kind of wish my brother Kevin was here, because between the Monkees connection and, the grandpa sci-fi element, and maybe even the Olivia Newton John factor, I think Kevin might like this. But yeah, this Harry Saltzman guy, though, I will say, lived an interesting life, man. And I don't know if there's a biography of the guy. I should look into if there is one, or a documentary, but I would love to know more about this dude's life, because just in this year alone, in the year 1970, I see here on Wikipedia that Saltzman won control of the Technicolor Motion Picture Corporation from Chairman Patrick Frawley in a proxy fight. So I guess he looks like for a couple years he was the head of Technicolor at this time.
Okay.
It's pretty wild, pretty weird. This guy's producing the James Bond movies, discovering Olivia Newton John, debatably, and running Technicolor all at the same time.
Yeah, I guess the discovery of Olivia Newton John is noteworthy, because Grease was 8 years after this, and
yeah, she had put out some music. I think she had dropped a single before she was discovered by these guys, and I guess it's really Don Kirshner, maybe, that is the one that it's maybe not clear to me. Is it Don Kirshner or Harry Saltzman that deserves the credit for discovering her? But in either case, they found her, we found her, and we're all better off for it.
Yeah, we're all a lot more physical for it. That's for sure.
That's true.
But will we be better off next week? Because I got 2 movies for you to pick.
Okay, all right.
These are both at least 20 years prior to the year 1995, as is the new rule, which is why I'm here on the show, is for the new rules.
That's the only reason that you're here on the show.
I just came on the show for the new rules.
All right, so I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
These are 2 movies, only one of which I have seen. I would probably be surprised if you haven't seen at least one of these, but they're old movies that, from what I understand, probably feel pretty fresh here in 2026 for very different reasons. The first one of these movies is called No Blade of Grass. It's from 1970. A strange new virus has appeared, which only attacks strains of grasses such as wheat and rice, and the world is descending into famine and chaos because of this.
Damn, not to mention its impact on my heavy doobies.
Exactly. And then the other one is called The Producers from 1967, directed by Mel Brooks. This is about two guys who decide to put on a play called Springtime for Hitler. So those are the two options that probably will feel somewhat fresh here in 2026 for various reasons.
Okay. I just watched that Mel Brooks documentary, and I think probably 2/3 of the producer's runtime is incorporated in that overlong doc.
Oh, yeah, because, it's Judd Apatow, right? So it's probably 5 hours long.
Yeah, so he just includes like the entire movies when he's discussing them. So I'm a little bit and I don't know, I'm a little bit Brooksed out from that, but can you really be Brooksed out? Maybe you can't be Brooksed out. I don't know. I'm still going No Blade of Grass, just because I've never seen that. I don't think I've even heard of it. I've seen The Producers many times.
Okay. Yeah, I would have been surprised if you hadn't seen The Producers. I've never seen The Producers. I've only seen No Blade of Grass.
Oh, have you never seen The Producers?
It's true. I've never seen it.
Well, then do this. Tell me, what do you think would be the higher number? The rating that I would give No Blade of Grass, or the rating that you would give The Producers? Because we're filling in a gap here. And so, what's going to result in the biggest uplift here between the two of us?
It's always hard to tell what you're going to give a good rating to. I think that you would like No Blade of Grass.
Yeah, but you think you would love The Producers?
Quite possibly. I love a lot of Mel Brooks.
And you love Zero Mostel.
I don't know who that is.
You've given him a 0 right here on the show?
Zero Mostel. Oh, I see. This is the guy from Watership Down.
He's the guy that got famously canceled for anti-communist reasons.
Oh no. I didn't know. But I would probably like The Producers. But it's up to you. I'm giving you the choice.
All right. I want you to enjoy life. I think a life where you have not seen The Producers is a life unfulfilled, and so we got to see those damn Producers. It's only 89 minutes long.
Oh, that's the perfect amount of minutes. All right, The Producers it is. Now, that season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, where Larry David does The Producers, will make sense. Finally.
Hell yeah. Oh, and it looks like I haven't even logged this on Letterboxd, so even though I've rated it, which there's a rare pool of movies that I've rated but not logged, and those are the movies the first day that I logged into the website and they prompted me to rate a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I rated this.
So you have not seen this movie for 15 years.
Yeah. Other than seeing, 90% of it in Judd Apatow's documentary, but
of course, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been too long.
All right, perfect. That's what we'll do next week.
All right, excellent. Between now and then, you can do all of the things that we say at the end of every show. You can go to junkfooddinner.com. That's a good place to find all the old episodes of the show and find links to our Space Drugs music video and all those kinds of things. Actually, to be honest, if you want a pro tip, if you're out there and you think that you're some kind of junk food power user, you think you know all the tips and the tricks, guess what? You might not know, in fact, the best way to access Junk Food Dinner for pros, for pros only. Go to archive.org/details/@ Junk Food Dinner, all one word. archive.org/details/@ Junk Food Dinner. That's how you get directly into our archive.org account, which, I don't know if you saw this, Bowman. Did you see this, Bowman? This archive.org account?
No, I haven't seen nothing.
You haven't seen our account on archive.org that has every episode of the show, every movie that we've ever made, all of the weird rewinds and the Matthew Sweetman only episode and all of the things that we've ever done. Like beautifully organized with thumbnail images for every episode, proper episode titles with movie names in them. It's really kind of an incredible thing that this even exists.
That's true, because for the longest time, especially in the very early days, like when we would upload to archive.org, we would just do it as a middleman between that and the website, like the Blogspot website. So yeah, we were just we were not putting summaries in. We were not organizing things in any way. We weren't putting thumbnails.
The wrong episode numbers on 1/3 of the episodes.
Yeah, wrong episode numbers. I uploaded a couple of episodes accidentally on my own private account rather than the dinner account. Horrifying mistakes in there. So this, is a lot of work that you have done.
Yeah. So now if you want to see or hear our review of, for instance, The Sinful Dwarf, it's very easy to scroll down to episode 316 of Junk Food Dinner from June of 2016 and listen to it right alongside Thundercrack.
That's the movie where Kevin made me watch gay porn.
Yeah, Kevin did make you watch gay porn. We've got proof of it. It's on that episode, and all the episodes are also alongside it on archive.org/details/@junkfooddinner. Exciting stuff.
I love to see it. I love when someone does work,
I think there was one episode like near the end of the weekly run of Dinner where Kevin was just too fed up to even make cover art for the episode. So there might be one episode that is still like without cover art, but you can blame Kevin for that, not me.
Pierre, Kevin.
But yeah, no, those are all the things I think mostly. We also got jftpodcast@gmail.com. That's called an email address. That's where you send emails to if you want them to reach us, and we'll probably read them on the show. Or, cut out the middleman and just leave the message yourself and have it be read aloud to us on our voicemail line, 347-746-JUNK. That's 347-746-5865. Put it in your phone. That's probably the best way to handle that. Next week, as we said, will be it'll be another supper, and it will be the producers. After that, we got a dinner coming up. What's on that dinner? Let people know about this dinner that we got coming down the pipeline. Junk Food Dinner, $6.99. We'll have Pin from 1989, Tickle Me from 1965, Diva in the Netherworld from 1980. So that's a couple weeks from now when Kevin's back, and that'll be exciting. Mm-hmm. But until then, until next week, this is your friend, Sen Biro, if you're the friend, Perky Beantown Bowman, saying, keep washing them dishes.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
There is consensual panty sniffing.
All right, Kevin.
Why would Kevin like that?